The UN Refugee Agency says some 370,000 people have fled the fighting in Ukraine. For the ones who are waiting to leave, many are converging on the western city of Lviv. Oleksiy Przmyski reports.
So there are thousands of people here. They are just coming and coming, and you could see lines of people coming away from the railway station and coming to the railway station. So those who are just arriving in Lviv, they are coming from Kiev, Kharkiv, southern parts of Ukraine, and they are trying to seek refuge here in so-called western capital of Ukraine, Lviv. We don't have the official information, official statistics yet on how many of those have already arrived, but as the Poland border authorities already informed, more than 150,000 people, 150,000 Ukrainians crossed the Poland border within the last couple of days. And this is only Poland we're speaking about. So there are also long lines of people trying to get to Romania, Slovakia, Hungary, so Moldova, every country that Ukraine is bordering with. But the question is, how many more of them gonna be coming here? Because when you see the pictures from Kiev and Kharkiv, you understand that there will be more and more refugees, and we have the official UN data that was saying that we expect more than 5 million refugees from Ukraine because of the war with Russia.
People in rural Hungary have come together to help Ukrainians fleeing over the border. Lucy Huff reports.
As you can see behind me, I'm just standing in front of a major makeshift centre that's been erected for the welcoming of those who've made the long and very difficult journey across the border. In their numbers, mostly women and children, given that, of course, Ukrainian men without a foreign passport, aged between the ages of 18 and 60, are prevented from leaving the country. So these people have come either by foot or by car. They're stopping here for some refuge, for some warmth, for some water, to receive some basic supplies from the volunteers who are working here on the ground. We have the Red Cross as well as other organizations working to support these people. We've got people also driving from major cities such as Budapest to offer free transportation to those in need, particularly those young children, some babies in prams that have been forced from their homes in Ukraine. For them, what happens next is the big question. A lot of people that we've been speaking to here are saying, we really want to go home, but there was no choice but to flee, given the situation on the ground, given the violence. But many people separated from their fathers, from their husbands, so a deeply difficult situation. But these people now finally in safety on European soil. The question, of course, is what happens next.
The UN Security Council has voted to convene a special session of the General Assembly. Tony Waterman has more details.
This was a procedural vote. That means that none of the permanent members of the Security Council were able to exercise their veto power. It needed 9 of the 15 members to be in favor. At the end of the day, what we saw was that 11 members voted in favor. There was 1 that voted against. Of course, that was Russia. And then there were 3 abstentions: China, India, and the UAE. This is the same lineup that we saw for that draft resolution on Friday. Now, after the vote took place, we did hear from the Chinese ambassador to the UN, who said that the world is witnessing a dramatic change in the situation in Ukraine, and that both sides need to exercise restraint when it comes to the situation to prevent it from getting worse. Take a listen.
China supports and encourages all diplomatic efforts conducive to a peaceful settlement of the Ukraine crisis and welcomes the earliest possible direct dialogue and negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. At the same time, China supports equal-footed dialogues between the EU and Russia on European security issues.
We also heard from the Ukrainian and also the Russian representatives. Take a listen.
This crisis broke out not as a result of the launch of the Russian special military operation in Ukraine, but much earlier, when for 8 years you turned a blind eye to the crimes perpetrated by the Ukrainian nationalists in Donbass.
As the Ukrainian people continue to bravely stand against Russian aggression, Russia's lies will be exposed, and Russia's contempt for international law will be confirmed.